So you say the tiny improvement in financial vulnerability levels is a mere blip on the radar screen and we shouldn't get too excited. Tell us why.
Yes, unfortunately, it was really just a small improvement. In the bigger scheme of things, our consumers are still very exposed at the moment, unfortunately, and this time of the year, that's not good news for us to share. But that's the reality, and we must remember that this index just tests how consumers are feeling. Lots of factors influence that, whether it's the macroeconomic factors, but consumers are not feeling positive about their own finances.
So consumers are still experiencing huge pressure on their cash flow. Tell us why. What's increasing this pressure?
Unfortunately, the factors that's increasing the vulnerability has not changed much in the last 3 quarters. The fuel price increase has obviously had a negative impact on consumers. But what has come out, and one of the sub-indexes under the index that shows a decline is just debt. Our consumers are overly indebted, and that's not helping their situation. They are battling to pay off their debt. And if you look at the debt increase on an annualized basis, it's increased substantially from last year. And then when you look at secured versus unsecured lending, the unsecured lending has increased double the amount of secured lending. And you know, unsecured lending is the expensive debt. That's the overdrafts and the credit cards and all the things that charges very high interest rates. So our consumers are battling with that. And to answer your question, what is causing it? It's getting back to basics. We need to just get back to basics. Keep with our budgets. Obviously, we all battle with self-control, but the keeping with the budgets has come out quarter after quarter is one of the factors that the consumers are not keeping to. And then, as I mentioned, the debt factor.
Now, interestingly, I see listed here one of the reasons consumers are affected is because of high levels of corruption as well, and then political uncertainty. We always hear those words in South Africa, but now we're actually seeing the impact it has on consumers. Explain that for us.
Yes, if you look at the trend from Q1 to Q3 in 2018, Q1, the index looked a lot better. And if you can recall what happened in Q1, that was when Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa just took over, and there was a sense of optimism in the country. What happened in Q2, there was a big slump. The index fell drastically. And that's not because actually that the government did anything wrong, but consumers realized these changes will take time. Initially, I think there was a sense that these changes will be much quicker. And unfortunately, it was not. And with that came the VAT increase, the petrol price increase. So all of those factors, those macroeconomic factors impacted on the vulnerability of our consumers. And that's where we land up now in Q3. There hasn't been a much change from Q2 to Q3, but the trend has been a downward spiral, actually.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. That was Ronelle Kind, General Manager of Member Engagement Solutions at Momentum Corporate.